This season of Truly Independent is supported by the Help Them See Foundation. Help Them See is a nonprofit dedicated to supporting feature films that inspire faith, hope, and connection. By partnering with filmmakers, the Help Them See Foundation brings meaningful stories to life and shares them with audiences worldwide, making a lasting cultural impact through the power of cinema. Learn more and discover how you can be part of the movement by visiting helpthemseefoundation.org. Welcome to Season 3 of Truly Independent. I'm Garrett Batty alongside my co-host Darren Smith. Each week, we'll go in-depth with guests, industry experts, and we'll even share our own experiences, all with the goal of demystifying the independent film process. This season, it's all about the script, from the first spark of an idea to a polished final draft, breaking it down for scheduling, budgeting, and ultimately shooting. We'll walk through every step it takes to get from page to production. Welcome to Truly Independent. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Truly Independent. I'm Garrett Batty, co-host, and with me today is Darren Smith, of course, our other co-host. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here. I love doing this. So like anytime we have other stuff that's before or after, I'm like, guys, I gotta go because Truly Independent's recording right now. So we had that happen this morning. We were on a marketing call for Brotherhood, and we gotta go. See ya.
And the
so
momentum,
we're here. We made it.
Yeah, we're here. We're at Truly Independent. We've got an episode, and we have a guest with us.
Hey,
Here, listening into our intro, and now we're going to introduce her, Savannah Osler, incredible filmmaker, director, and longtime friend. Savannah, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hey, it's amazing seeing you as well, Garrett and Darren. Oh my gosh, I am just thrilled to be here. I'm doing wonderful.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. You're like the local queen of indie film. So a great convo.
I'll gladly take that title. That's really, really, really sweet and generous and flattering. Thank you.
Oh, of course. You've got a new project coming out. What number film is this for you?
This new film that I have coming out, it's my third feature film.
Okay. Congrats.
Third feature. And it seems like, Savannah, in between features, I see you working on other people's projects. I see you doing shorter format stuff. You were always telling narrative stories. Is that just your Facebook feed, or is that accurate?
No, that's totally accurate. Of course, Facebook always makes us look cooler. I don't know. Like I sometimes feel as an indie filmmaker, you get a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm sure you guys can even relate. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm always telling stories. I'm directing commercials for ad agencies like Chamber Media and Harmon Brothers. I've worked with them all and creatively. And also, short narrative. I'm actually working on a new short film. It's one I didn't write, but I was hired to direct it, and we're shooting this spring. I'm really excited because it's unlike anything I've ever done before. It's a thriller. So I've never told any story quite like that. So I'm really excited.
Oh, very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing whatever it is you do, because it's always very enjoyable. Savannah, again, as we were talking about our podcast, our goal is to really just demystify this independent film experience.
Yeah.
And just how to get films going. And I'm having a hard time deciding where to start with you. You have had some incredible independent films, and it does feel like you've earned that title of kind of this queen of independent film as far as in our local circles and even beyond.
Oh, wow.
So just a little bit of your background. Where did you get into this, and how has this always been something you've wanted to do, and what finally gave you the go ahead to do it?
Oh my gosh. That's a wonderful.
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah. Great, Garrett. And it's almost like, I don't know where to start, but I guess I'll start from the beginning. I've always been a huge Disney fan. You can't really see my office. It's a little cluttered right now. So I'm like, I didn't want to show it off, but I got a lot of Disney memorabilia everywhere. I love Disney and, happy stories and inspiring stories. And I remember the very first movie I remember seeing in theaters was The Lion King, like the live action, the original, the OG, the 1994 version.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that, as a tiny kid, and just like, as soon as the lights dimmed, picture started, it was just like absolute quiet, silence. People are invested in the story. The credits roll, and the music starts like, Savannah. And I was like, just absolutely taken. And then eating popcorn, it's just that whole experience. And then, of course, the tragedy with Mufasa dying, and adults were crying in the theater. Like, I turned around, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this movie, it's a movie that is moving people this much. And it's moving me, and it's taking me on this wild journey of songs and happiness and joy, but also tears and inspiration. And I just, from that moment on, I just realized like I wanted to work in this industry. I wanted to tell stories. I didn't know how. Obviously I was 4, but I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And so, I was in little theater groups, and I started writing. I think the earliest memory I have of myself writing was like 8, maybe 8 years old, just writing short stories and then long stories, fan fiction. That was my jam. And and then when I got older, I grew up on Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff. She was like my role model. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to tell stories. And so I started with acting because I really enjoyed it. I joined theater groups and did some like camps at the Hale Center Theater. And then my parents realized, like, I think, yeah, she's really serious about this. So they heard an advertisement on the radio for a film charter high school locally called East Hollywood High. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah. In fact, I'm very familiar with some of the teachers there and looked at doing some projects with them.
I have
sounds
not
like
heard of
amazing
it.
program. I bet, what's that?
I have not heard of it. So I'm like, oh, what now?
Oh,
it's a pretty fascinating program.
Yeah, it's like this hidden gem. And I think the first year it opened like in 2006 or 2005. So it was like perfect. I went my junior and senior year there. And that's where I first took screenwriting classes with Nathan Smith Jones, acting classes with Christopher Robin Miller. Like, we had some awesome teachers. And then my film production teacher, I know you guys know him, Mario DeAngelis. He's fantastic. And that's when I started first writing my first screenplay, Twice the Dream, at East Hollywood High School.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you graduated East Hollywood High School and then rounded up the resources to make Twice the Dream.
Yeah, I guess in a very non-linear fashion, right? Because
Yeah.
as you guys know, like, independent film is very non-linear. There's so many ups and downs. Yeah, I actually started writing Twice the Dream, like the story of it, when I was 14 in math class. I was never really good in math. And then, like, I was just always daydreaming, like thinking, I don't know how this is ever going to apply to my life. I'm just going to write a story in my notebook. And then that story really captured me. And I was like, I need to make this movie. I went to East Hollywood High School and started actually writing it as a script. And I was just hooked, like, I just knew, like, once you find that story, that this is the one that I'm going to tell. I need to get this movie out there. So after graduating East Hollywood, I was working at the movie theater, just saving pennies so I could move to LA, because I thought, yeah, everyone makes movies in LA. Like, I'll probably have better luck there. I'm still very glad I made the move to LA, because I think it grounded me. Plus, I also furthered my filmmaking education, had tremendous teachers, film production and acting. And I think, yeah, it just really grounded me. And also in reality, like, you'd be at Starbucks and a dozen other screenwriters, like, with their laptop, like, with Final Draft. I'm like, I guess everyone has a script here, And here I thought I was special, but and funny enough, I think it was like 2017, 2018. I was already there for about 8 years. Utah just started calling back to me, and I'm like, you know what? I think that's where we need to be. Utah, and maybe that's where we'll have better luck making Twice the Dream.
Okay.
Because like I had so many pitch meetings and producer meetings, and I can't tell you how many people told me like, "Oh, it's a great story. I love it, but have you ever thought of making it two brothers instead of two sisters because the story follows two sisters?" And because they said, "Oh, male-oriented stories are more marketable, blah blah blah." And that was
Yeah.
just a big no for me. I said, "No, this is very much a female, it's a story on sisterhood, and that's very important. So if I have to wait longer, that's fine." And then of course, there's so many people like, "Oh yeah, like if you raise the first 500,000, I can get you the rest, blah blah blah." You
Yeah.
get the drill, and I was just like, ugh, it just felt like I was running into wall after wall after wall there. And I just finally was decided, you know what, maybe if we look for other opportunities in Utah, and maybe we can do it ourselves, and because I at first, like, I was trying to make it for $1 million, but not soon, like, it took me years to realize this. I came to the realization, like, I don't know if anyone's gonna give a first time filmmaker $1 million. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that's very rare. Unless like you have a really wealthy uncle, which unfortunately I didn't. So I decided to write it, tailor the script a little bit more catered toward a lower budget, because it used to require like so many ritzy things and locations and everything like that. And it was actually set in LA. So I thought about setting it in like a small mountain rural town that we can shoot in Utah,
Sure.
and stuff like that. So I kind of, like, I guess, put my producing hat on and looked at it that way, and just started raising money, pretty much just knocking on everyone's doors I knew. And probably the person I least expected to want to help me and trust and want to invest in the film, that's who ultimately invested in the movie. And
Okay.
yeah, it was just kind of like
And
crazy. It was like, oh. And then, so now they were technically an angel investor, which is incredible. And then I also
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by an angel investor?
basically, like, it was like they straight up told me, like, if you don't pay me back anything, like, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm investing in you and your career.
How
Gotcha.
many conversations do you think you had to have, or that you think you had for that first film to try and raise the budget that you had?
Oh my gosh. I can't even, it's almost like over 100. Yeah, hundreds, I think.
Hundreds,
Like,
right?
I was constantly talking about it, and I think if I wasn't like just so passionate about it, like, I would eat, sleep and dream this story. If I wasn't so passionate about it, I would have given up years ago.
I think that's one of the things we hear a lot of, and that is nature of what we're doing as indie filmmakers is sometimes it's that passion that drives us. I love that you said, okay, this this will not happen if I'm seeking to raise $1 million. Not going to happen.
Yeah,
And sometimes we become our biggest obstacle.
totally.
And once we get out of the way of kind of this precious idea, we say, look, the goal is to make a movie, not to whatever is stopping me from making movies. Let's look at the resources that I have. I've got access to a small Utah town, or I've got access to
Yep.
whatever it is, crew at East Hollywood High. I don't have access to $1 million. I'm
Yeah.
going to use what I have to make this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And then also my husband is graduated from film school, and he's a talented cinematographer and editor. Yeah, we invested in a red camera with a nice zoom package. So it was our budget was a combination of like our soft money resources, like our camera equipment, G&E,
Yep.
and then also the hard money. But our budget, it was very small. Even including post, it was like $50,000. That's Twice the Dream. Yeah.
Wow.
But
And Savannah, it sounds like you're able to distribute that movie. It's released, it's out there, people can watch it.
yeah,
And that's kind of what we're doing. It doesn't do any good as a screenplay just sitting there not being made.
exactly. Yeah. It's like,
And you were, sorry, but you were like a multi-hyphenate on that, right? You wrote, directed, produced, starred in, etc., right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, I guess co-starred, but
Yeah.
yeah, multi-half, yeah. Act, yeah. Wrote,
And
produced.
it led to the second one. Then you did a sequel.
Yeah, we did a sequel called Even in Dreams. This is low key. This is how I got the idea. So we were at the premiere of Twice the Dream at Jordan Commons, and it was right before, the theatrical release. And I kid you not, because it had an open ending at the end, and the audience at the end, they were like cheering. They're like, seek, seek, seek. And, at first I was like, oh, yeah, that's never going to happen. The story's finished. I think maybe it was like 6 months later or 8 months later, I started really thinking about it. I was like, hey, what if these characters, their journey was not done? What if? And then it just came to me in a song.
Oh, fun.
So I started writing the song first, Even in Dreams. And then the script, I think I wrote the first draft of that in like 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. It was crazy.
So we glossed over this step here that you made a movie, $50,000, you got investors, you made it, and then you went and got distribution. Like a lot of people who are producing micro budget stuff, ultra low budget stuff that's like sub 500K, struggle with that step. So tell us a little bit about the distribution process and how did you line up theatrical?
That's a great question. I mean, the theatrical, honestly, I had some connection still from working at the movie theater when, I was a teenager. So I called, I think she was like my assistant manager at the time. She was my manager. I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. I used to sell popcorn with you. And she's like, oh, yeah, yes. And she's like, and I said, yeah, well, I make movies now. I have this movie. And is this crazy? It might be crazy, but I kind of want to pitch it to the film buyer at Megaplex Theaters. Like, how do I go by that? And she's like, oh yeah, let me give you his number. Like, yeah, you have to call the film buyer. And I just had this conversation and they agreed to book it, in a number of theaters, which was awesome. So it was honestly just a phone call. Sometimes you have to be so, you have to have
But you did your own distribution.
Yeah, you have to have the audacity just to pick up the phone and be like, you know what? I made a movie. Yeah, it's an independent movie, but I'm happy with how it turned out. Audiences, people are responding to it. And let's see if we can work something out. So that quickly, it not only played in Utah, but then another theater chain called me, Harkins Theaters, and was like, hey, I heard about this movie, Twice the Dream. We'd like to play in Arizona. We also have, a couple other theaters like in California. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'd love my movie to play in Arizona and California. So it just kind of made me realize, like, as an independent filmmaker, you kind of almost have to be your own marketing team too. You just push it out, and if you just make something and get it out there, just do what you can with the tools that you have and push it. Oh, I'm so sorry, that was my phone. Bad phone.
I love the way you started that with, you said, I picked up the phone and you started the conversation with, this might be crazy, but, and I can't tell you how many, like, that should be written tattooed on every indie filmmaker's, on their foreheads, just saying, this is what we're doing. This might be crazy, but, and then your idea is, I'm going to make a movie or whatever it is.
That might be my next tattoo. I like that idea.
Just don't put it on your forehead, Savannah.
I won't.
Severely limit your acting opportunity.
Yeah, that really changes things. And then, so you did the sequel, and now we want to get into Buster Brooks. I followed with Only Dreams and Twice the Dream. Was it Only Dreams?
So
thank you.
Twice the Dream and Even in Dreams.
Even in Dreams, thank you.
Yeah.
And it seemed to lead the foundation for what your next movie is, Buster Brooks.
Yeah.
From my outside perspective.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I actually had a theatrical distributor on Even in Dreams, Purdy Distribution. back when Brandon was,
Who ran Purdy Distribution.
yeah, Brandon Purdy. Yeah. Awesome guy. Learned a lot from him. That's for sure. And then I came up with the idea Buster Brooks. I just randomly pictured this like farm boy just in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard in the front of the Chinese theater with a rooster. Random. I don't know where that came from, but it just, that idea alone put such a smile on my face. And I just, it was another, I know my next story when I feel it. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, that's it. Yeah. Because for the longest time after Even in Dreams, I kind of felt like Rapunzel. I'm like, well, what's next? Like these characters have been my dream for so long. I've told their stories, like I've made and released 2 movies now. What next? So I came up with Buster Brooks and I wrote that script. I'd say the first draft, in about 3 to 4 weeks, and had industry feedback. And then we held an actor's table read so I can hear the words out loud, the dialogue out loud, see, how it clicked. And people were really responding quite positively. Like people were like actually laughing out loud. And I was just like, oh my gosh, great. Like this is resonating with people because it sounds so silly, right? A farm boy with a rooster, he moves to Hollywood, but he's actually a really endearing character. And, of course, I got some very valuable feedback from that reading. And I kept rewriting that script until finally I found a team that believed in it as much as I did. And that's the movie that we made for $1 million. So it was my 3rd feature.
Okay, so are you still involved with some of those early investors, or was this a separate group? And how did that come about?
It's kind of combined. It's some investors from my previous 2 films and then new ones. And then we also raised, I can't remember off the top of my head, via crowdfunding. I think we raised about 80,000 on Seed and Spark.
Oh, nice.
So I used that as like the seed money because unlike my first 2 films where, we could make for under 200K, I realized like this is a story, Hollywood, Chinese theater, animals.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts. Like I don't see how this story would have been possible with anything under 500,000. Like it really had its limitations. So this was the project that I just decided like, okay, I'm going to really test myself to see if I can actually do it. Like I worked the ultra low budget world. First feature film, 50K. I think Even in Dreams landed around 150K or 200K, somewhere around there. So it was my goal to at least like jump a budget level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I thought that was the only way to really grow as a filmmaker. But it was quite the jump, like going from 200,000 to $1 million, like having production trailers, cast trailers, all that. It was like, it was a lot, but we did it. And I'm so thankful for the cast and crew. It was just an amazing, phenomenal experience. And I'm really happy with how the product turned out.
Savannah, you should be, because it looks amazing. Your cast and crew did an amazing job.
Thank you.
The DP, kudos to your DP.
Yeah, my DP was Wes Johnson. He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. I love Wes, and everything he touches is just watchable.
Yeah.
Better description. It just makes a pretty image. And then your cast, I'm curious how you've found your cast, because you were shooting in LA and seems like you shot some in Utah.
Yes.
And so what was the audition process? How did you put together a great cast?
Oh, thank you. Well, kudos to our casting directors. So it's kind of a funny story. Our casting team, Lisa London and Catherine Stroud, London Stroud Casting, they're based in LA. I was referred to them by my acting coach from LA, Adrian Armonti, who worked on a lot of Disney Channel stuff. He was a series regular in The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. And so he's really fun, and he's very well connected. I called him up and I asked him, hey, I'm making this movie, it's independent film, but we're looking at $1 million. So we really need to raise the bar as far as casting. Do you have any casting directors you recommend? And he was like, oh, 100%. Lisa London, 100%. And funny enough, that she was the casting director from Hannah Montana. So they like legit discovered Miley Cyrus, and they come from the Disney world, but they also do lots of amazing movies, and lately they've been diving into the indie world. So that's how I found my casting director team, and they're just phenomenal. I think this cast, it's a very well-rounded cast. It's, we have Matt Cornett, who plays Buster himself from High School Musical, the series. And he's just so phenomenal. He steps so well into that role. It's impossible to see anyone else in it. Like, he's just so Buster. So it was just incredible.
I was laughing under my breath a little bit because this through line from your career of the story you've told so far is, I didn't have this thing, so I called somebody. And then I didn't have this, and I didn't know how to do it, so I called somebody.
Yeah.
And just this idea of like calling the destination and asking for direction. When you knew a person you worked with at a movie theater selling popcorn, that's like, hey, how do I get my movie in Megaplex? You're like, oh, just call this guy. Okay, cool. I'll do that. But that step, as simple as it sounds, is like such a stumbling block for so many, where they think it's someone else's job to do it, or they don't know if it's okay to call, so they hesitate to even try. I just love this through line for you of, I didn't know what to do, or I didn't have that person that I needed, so I just called somebody.
Yeah.
And then it worked out. Maybe not on the first call, but you just kept calling until you had it.
You just have to keep knocking on those doors until something sticks. It's absolutely true, because I think the best directors don't necessarily always come up with the best ideas themselves, but they're able to recognize the best ideas, and I realize, like, okay, I don't know everything, like I've never worked with a professional casting director team. Like, I kind of just cast my first 2 movies myself, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I really have learned to go back into my resources and my contacts and call. Even like my first film, I called Mario DeAngelis from East Hollywood High, my teacher, and I was like, I'm making this movie. You were my film production teacher. Like, this is my first one. What do I do? And so I eventually hired him as my first AD. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
Good move.
I want one other question for you. Sorry, Garrett, but how important or integral was that decision on your first movie to say, we're going to go do this, even if it's 50 grand? Like, that's the budget. Like, how important was that for the rest of your trajectory in your career?
I would say so important, because I don't think I would have gotten it made. I honestly don't think I would have gotten anything made if I hadn't made that decision. Earlier on in my career, even like fresh off the bus from Utah to LA, when people even suggested, like, have you thought about making it for maybe a little lower budget? I kind of like scoffed at them, like, no, like, this story, it deserves $1 million. It deserves like these stars. And but I ended up realizing, oh, I totally got in my own way. If something is not working, you have to change what you're doing, and I needed to change what I was doing in order to change the outcome in order to get the outcome that I wanted.
I often think also, maybe a follow-up question is, what would have happened had you made it for $1 million? And I wonder if I've got a nephew who's training to be a pilot right now, and he's got to get his hours in the little Cessna, right? In the thing. Nobody's putting him behind the 747.
Yeah.
Because he's just starting out. And I think, boy, it's a very similar story with my first feature, Savannah. And if I would have made it, for the original budget that I wanted, that would be the last movie I made.
Yeah.
Because I'd be still digging myself out of that giant pit I dug, or never ever being able to sit in front of a potential investor and explaining what went wrong.
Right. No, I mean, honestly, the best film school is making a feature yourself. I can't, it's just, there's so many elements you just don't realize, like, oh my gosh, even just like with the production, the scheduling, like, oh my gosh, like, should we really shoot that important scene? Should we save that for the end of the day? What if we're rushing it? Oh my gosh, like getting all the coverage we need. Oh, you only have 4 hours to shoot this really important scene. You gotta sacrifice some coverage or one angle. What are you gonna sacrifice? It's all those decisions you don't even think about, and then you're just thrown in. So I'm honestly really glad my first feature, Twice the Dream, was made on that budget, because I haven't watched it in a bit. I think maybe like a year ago, and then I see some stuff. And I was like, okay, I definitely learned some things since then, and if I were to remake this or make this today, I probably would have made a different choice here. But, it was my first feature, right? You're learning.
But you want that, right? If you were to look at it now and go, man, I peaked with my first movie, that's a bad thing, right?
Yeah,
you want to look at your early work and go, God, I've come a long way.
Yeah. But it's also giving yourself some grace and credit, and looking at some shots and some characters and thinking like, you know what? We got some awesome performances out of that. Like, I'm really proud of that, or I'm proud of that moment. I'm proud of what we did there, or the composition there. It was just spot on. Like, like it's really an interesting process. So yeah, there's some cringy moments I watch. I'm like, but that's how you grow. You're exactly right, Garrett.
Savannah, no film is easy to make.
Right.
And it only gets harder, I think, or more complicated with the bigger the budget and more grander the story and more moving parts that we bring on. And yet we do that to ourselves.
Oh yeah.
What is it? What helps you? Like, what are some of those challenges that you may have faced specifically with Buster Brooks, and then how you overcame them, whether production or budgetary or whatever?
That's a wonderful question. Straight up off the top of my head, we shot this. We were in active pre-production right as the SAG-AFTRA strike happened.
Oh.
It was in the thick of that. And we had SAG actors, and it was just one of those things. And my first film was non-union, so I didn't have to worry about the union. But my second film, I had worked with SAG before, but that was right during COVID. So I worked, I've done.
Again, no film was easy, right?
No film is easy, but it's like, when the strike happened, I kind of like turned to Steve and I was like, why do we always tend to decide to make movies during like the hardest times? It doesn't make sense. So I think it was like we had a month I think a month or maybe even 2 months before our principal photography, we had already locked crew, our dates, we had already put deposits down for locations, and we still had no cast because we were waiting on our SAG-AFTRA clearance, our waiver, in order to make the movie. So it was like, it came down to the wire. I actually, again, back to the phone calls, I insistently called our rep and I'm like, hey, I know, yep, it's me, Savannah with Buster Brooks, because he knew who I was, because I would call.
Yeah.
It started like with emails, and then I would start calling maybe every week, and then every couple days. And then by the end, I was like, okay, I have to call this guy every day and ask him, like, how is this looking? Like, I'm seeing some films getting their waivers. We really need to get our casting process started. So finally, and he was so kind. He was like, I love your guys' film. I love the passion you are, because I'm like, I don't mean to, pest you, but we're kind of in a pickle. And I really think it's because of all those phone calls, that squeaky wheel. Finally, he's like, okay, you got your clearance, you got your waiver, let's go. Finally, then casting team, we were able, because actors, SAG actors couldn't even read scripts during the strike.
Yeah.
Unless we were cleared. So
hearing you talk about
Hey,
PTSD for me, because Darren and I were in the exact same spot with Faith of
Yeah.
Angels.
I
Yeah.
remember calling you and talking to you during that
Yeah.
whole thing. And I remember going, man, if she's calling every day, I should do that too. And then it was like, we had a different outcome where we went non-union, was trying to, that's another conversation for another episode.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I was
Recording.
impressed.
Still
I was
recording, Darren.
like, yeah,
Go.
cut that out. But I was seriously impressed because, man, I was following up regularly. And then here you are calling them every day. I'm like, man, I got to step up my game. Like, I should be calling every day. And then by the time I started doing, that's when they finally responded. And that is what it takes, though. Like,
Absolutely.
you're the only person who can get what you want for your movie. Like,
It's
you
true.
have to think of it that way. It may not be true. You may have partners who are helping you, but
Yeah.
if you don't have what you need, then you got to go get it. And it's going to go do it. You got to do it.
I always tell myself and other filmmakers, no one cares about your movie as much as you do. Of course, people will really respond to it and care for it, and your producing team, but it's really the filmmaker. That's your baby. You know what I'm saying? I know, Garrett. I know, and I know you know too, Darren. Like, no one cares as much. So, you can call in all the favors you want, but ultimately it's gotta be you. It's gotta be you, boots on the ground, making those calls, making those decisions, early mornings, late nights. And that's why I just refuse. I'm not going to work on a story that I'm not so passionate enough, about, because it's not worth it, unless you're really passionate about the story you're telling, all that, the groundwork and calls and sweat and ups and downs, SAG, permits, locations, crew. It's just not worth it unless you are just so hell-bent on telling that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your reasons for doing it have to be greater than the reasons to give up when
Yeah.
those obstacles show up. And honestly, from the producer side, we look for that in the person we're partnering with. Like, if you're the writer director, we have to see that this is inevitable. Like, you're going to get up and do it every day. There's no stopping this story from happening. And we better get on board if we want to participate, because it's happening with or without us.
Exactly.
And if that energy isn't there, it's like, I need to go find someone that has that energy about their story.
Exactly. Yeah.
So with Buster Brooks, you got it finished. The strike was a few years ago, but it's finished, and you're screening it at ZIFF at the end of this month.
Yes.
In conference. Is that right?
And great.
Yes. Thank you. We're
that's awesome.
actually premiering at ZIFF.
Oh, you're premiering.
Yeah.
Hey. And do you already have distribution lined up? Are you working with Purdy again, or is it like you're taking it to ZIFF and hoping there's an option there? What's the plan on that front?
Both. We're already talking to distributors. We got a couple offers on the table, but we're kind of like seeing like, okay, because I feel like the theatrical model has changed so much even since I released my first 2 films theatrically. So I'm just trying to figure out that landscape, almost relearning it. And then with the VOD, SVOD, all those, but we're talking to a really great family distributor who ironically is sponsoring ZIFF. So
Nice.
it felt like it was serendipity. So I think that's where we're going to take it. And I just want to say, like, part of probably the biggest struggle for Buster Brooks was just finishing the film for us, because obviously $1 million, it sounds like a lot, but with this story and our cast and everything, it really burnt quickly. There are some decisions that I think I would make differently. The hindsight is 2020. Like, maybe I wouldn't have used that location. Maybe I would have, maybe instead of like all these, more name actors, maybe only like 1 or 2. But, in the moment, so it was a struggle for me to just raise the finishing funds. That's why there was we filmed a couple of years ago, and it's been really tough. I honestly think I've gone through a lot of hiccups and trials. Like, we filmed 2020 during COVID, SAG, and we literally had a SAG rep visiting set, like basically COVID checking us every day.
Yeah. Wow.
On my second film, it was really stressful, but at the end of the day, like that film, we finished post pretty quickly and got it into theaters and got it out there. But Buster Brooks, I'd say by far was the most trying, hardest. There were even some times where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if we're ever going to finish this. Like I don't see an end to this tunnel. It was like devastating. And then I got pregnant, and then, which is an amazing thing. You know, we have a beautiful daughter, 9 months old, and then after having her, then I finally realized, I'm like, you know what? We might have to self-fund the rest of the movie just to get it out there, because it really deserves to be seen. You know, it was a lot of hard work, a lot of money already been spent on it. And that's when the magic happened. And I feel like I've grown so much, not even just as a filmmaker, but just as a person. My resilience, I feel like was already pretty high. But after this, I'm like, there ain't nothing I can, like there's nothing that is going to stop me.
And then you had a baby.
Yeah.
Savannah, one of the things that I did notice in all of your movies is, first of all, that you finish them. They all get done all out there, which is amazing and remarkable. Yeah. And it looks like your cast is just having the time of their life. So everyone in the film just brings their A game and looks like they're just having a great time. And it seems like you create probably an environment that enables that.
Oh.
So whatever you're doing, keep it up. It's fun to see it each time.
Thanks. Thank you, Garrett. I love actors because that's how I started my career. I love working with actors. I love collaborating. It's amazing. It's just there's an essential piece of the puzzle, as you guys know, and I just love it.
Good. Okay, so Buster Brooks, for those that are listening that are near ZIFF, go check it out. Do you know when it's premiering?
Yes, it's premiering on February 27th. That's a Friday night.
It's premiering at ZIFF.
Yeah, you can get tickets at the website, and also, the trailer. Full circle moment. You cut the trailer. Garrett cut an amazing trailer for us. We are dropping on Wednesday. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yes, we love that. We here at 3 Coin Productions, we cut trailers for all sorts of filmmakers and absolutely love it. And you're no exception. It's so fun when you call and say, "Hey, I've got another film." We're always excited to do that for you.
It was an amazing trailer, so fun. Everyone that I've showed it to really has responded positively to it. So I'm just so excited.
Oh, congrats on that. The premiere. Oh my gosh. I'm going to do everything I can to make it. I might be coming back from New York that day, but I will be there if I'm in town.
Can't love wait to have you. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
It's going to be amazing.
Okay, Savannah, thank you for joining us. I love hearing about filmmaker stories and just this common theme of letting the passion drive you through the obstacles and getting out of the way of the idea and making, if there is a challenge, pick up the phone and say, "This might sound crazy, but," and then
yep.
So great.
Love it. Thanks for coming on, Savannah.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Garrett, Darren. It's just been an absolute treat.
This season of Truly Independent is supported by the Help Them See Foundation. Help Them See is a nonprofit dedicated to supporting feature films that inspire faith, hope, and connection. By partnering with filmmakers, the Help Them See Foundation brings meaningful stories to life and shares them with audiences worldwide, making a lasting cultural impact through the power of cinema. Learn more and discover how you can be part of the movement by visiting helpthemseefoundation.org. Thanks for joining us. If you are enjoying Truly Independent, please share and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the journey. Today's episode was edited by Michael Bradford and produced by 3 Coin Productions.